Welcome to Heart of the Lion. My name is Anthony Hart. I wanted to talk today about the balance between logic and emotions. It's important. Both of these aspects are important in this world, in this life, and a lot of times one side goes to try and demean the other, to try and say that maybe logic is more important or maybe emotions are more important. But the emotional world is important, and the logical world is also important. It's just about proper tool usage. It's about proper timing. If you have rafters falling out of your ceiling and you need to figure out why they're falling out of your ceiling, logic is a very powerful tool. And to try and maybe do that with emotion, I mean, obviously there's going to be, maybe you can use emotion as a motivation. So there's obviously a little bit of crossover, but logic is going to be a very important tool in figuring out how to repair those rafters. And so logic and emotion are equal parts of this world. If you're in a relationship with somebody, if you're in a relationship with a woman and she has a miscarriage, you can say a lot of logical things, but the truth is the emotions are really important there. You want to take care of that person. You want them to come out of that with a positive attitude, to come out of that knowing that there's potential for great things in this world and all is not lost. And you want them to come out healthy emotionally, spiritually, mentally, physically. And so part of that is understanding what they're going through emotions. So emotions are important, and so is the logical brain. These are both tools that we as humans should learn to delve into, deal with, and utilize appropriately. And they're both important tools. And there's so much that's going on where argue, oh, this one's better or that one's better, and it's not the case. It's the difference between a hammer and a screwdriver. One isn't better than the other. They have two different functions. And sometimes they work in conjunction in the same job. You may use a hammer and a screwdriver. And so they're both useful. They're both important. Having mastery over both is really the best way to go here. I was even listening to some guy who said he was a Navy SEAL. He said that in part of their training, they talked about self-talk, talking to yourself in a positive way. It's like if you're walking over a tightrope or a balance beam and you have these images in your mind that just keep coming up. Oh my gosh, I'm going to fall. Oh my gosh, I'm going to fall. Oh my gosh, I'm going to fall. Then eventually you're going to fall. You're talking yourself into falling. And so you have to learn how to control your mind and start to tell yourself a different story. So you start to tell yourself, I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it. I can do it. I can do it. I believe in myself. I love myself. I can do it. I can do this. I can make it. I can go across. And in doing that, you basically manifest into your reality the fact that you're making it, and part of that is through the emotional function of it. The positive attitude. That's an emotional thing. That's not necessarily a logical thing. You may be standing on a balance beam that's very, very thin, and the logical argument is that statistically you're more likely to fall than you are to stay on it. And so logically it's not sound to necessarily have a positive attitude there, but having that positive attitude in that moment will help you towards success, will help you towards putting your emotions in the right place so that you can find a way to accomplish the task at hand. And so emotions are critically important, whether people want to acknowledge it or not, whether it's sexy or not. They're critically important. And logic is equally important. Logic is incredibly important. There may be a situation where, emotionally you feel exhausted, tired, drained, you're not feeling it, you're not needing to go forward, but logically you understand that if you don't act right now, there's no way for you to there'll be no way for you to succeed. That it's time dependent and you have to go now. And if you don't go now, then this attempt is failed. And so they work synergistically like that more often than not. You use your logic to understand that you have to affect your emotions. And you use your emotions to get on board that you have to use the logic in whatever situation. And so they work intertwined together, just like the yin-yang symbol, the male and the female, the black and the white, and they work together. They cannot be separated. The masculine and feminine portions of this universe and of this world, they work together. They work in harmony. They cannot be separated. They're part of the same. And this goes to a little bit of the cosmology. As far as me, from what I understand, you have the eternalness of the universe, the eternalness of God, whatever you want to say that is, what we ultimately came from, what life ultimately came from, and that connection, in my understanding, can never go away. That connection is always there. Now, we may blind ourselves to it, we may turn away from it, but that connection is always there. The essence of what we truly are, God itself, is always there and can never, it doesn't ever change. What changes is, what we can do in this world to turn away from it and decide not to look at it. That's fine, but the connection is always there. And then you have the mundane world, this world that we exist within. And this world has the duality, the light and the dark, the masculine and the feminine, the logic and the emotion. And they work simultaneously together. The strength and the passivity. Passivity isn't the right word, but strength and the openness, right? To be fully strong, it's almost like a cast. You don't want to be that all the time, but sometimes you need that. It's very important, for healing, for health, for defense, for all kinds of things. Strength is critically important, and equally openness is important. And they work conjunctively together, back and forth, moving between each other. So in this world, it'll always be like that, and they'll be intertwined. And no matter how much you say, oh, I like this side, or this is the one side, there can be an argument that shows how the other side is playing a role as well, equally. And so it would behoove us to understand this and to not try to necessarily demonize one side. That they create harmony. It creates harmony and balance and flow in the life when we learn how to move between both forces, with both forces, not demonizing one or the other. They're both useful. This is a short little video here, just wanted to make, talking about appreciating both sides of the spectrum, appreciating both forces. And obviously, both forces have negatives. Both sides, logic can be used to a fault. Emotion can be used to a fault. But logic can also be used very wisely. And emotion can also equally be used very wisely. So remember this when you're hearing different ideas about logic being the way or emotion being the way. They're both equally important. You learn how to utilize both, and your life will be more harmonious. I hope you guys are having a great day out there. God bless you all. Good luck with everything, and we'll see you in the next video.